Taylor has finally done it. She has created an album that I truly enjoy. Not just an album that I think is okay, but an album that is a great within its genre. I can't believe the words that are about to leave my mouth, but as a Kanye fan, I think I like Taylor Swift's music. Let's talk about it. Welcome everyone to episode 5 of the Taylor Swift series, where I, a Kanye fan, am listening to every single Taylor Swift album. In today's video, I am covering her 5th studio album, 1989. In this series, I break the album down into its history, my general thoughts on it, thoughts on Taylor pertinent to the time, and then finally, my rating of the album. If you have any questions, please feel free to check out the rest of the series. I have also provided timestamps for you to see the sections that you wish to watch, but without further ado, let's dive into Taylor Swift's 5th studio album, 1989. I'm about to listen to 1989 by Taylor Swift for the first time, and I am absolutely terrified. Ever since the start of the series, there has not been an album I've been more excited for but 1989. This is the album that is at the top of my wanting to listen to, and now that I finally reached it, I am so scared that I've built it up in my mind that when I listen to this, I'm going to be disappointed despite there being potentially good songs on it, or maybe I'm going to hate every song. I am just so nervous that I have made it this beautiful 10 out of 10 album in my mind, when in actuality it's not that, and that I've just overhyped it for myself, so that no matter what's on this album, I'm going to be disappointed with it. And I really hope that does not happen, because this is her first pop album. I know a lot of the songs in it, and I'm excited but nervous, and I really want to have a good time with this. I really want to enjoy Taylor's music, and I think this is where my true enjoyment of her music begins. So without further ado, let's listen to 1989. Where we last left off with Taylor, she had released her 4th studio album, Red. The album was inspired by Taylor's troubles beginning young adult life. Red would be highly revered, which in 2014 brings us to the 56th annual Grammys. Taylor would receive multiple nominations for the album, which stirred up a lot of controversy. Red was an album that drew inspirations from all across the musical spectrum, but mainly jumped between country and pop. This made her nominations for Best Country Album, Best Country Song, and Best Country Duo Performance highly controversial, as many considered the album to be a pop record and not a country one. Not only that, the album itself was heavily scrutinized for a lack of sonic cohesion born out of this mashing of genres. So because of these issues, Red would not win a single award at the Grammys that year, and this would get under Taylor's skin. Previously, lots of Taylor's music was created in response to criticisms about her and her music, and this next album would be no exception. Taylor would ruminate about what she needed to do for the next album to fix these issues which the critics complained about. She would decide that her next project needed to be sonically cohesive and be one genre the whole way through, that genre being pop. But why pop? She decided to stick with the genre because the pop singles from Red were the best performing songs on the album. So with a clear direction in mind, Taylor would set out to create her best album yet. Just like with her previous projects, a lot of work on the album would be done while Taylor was on tour. This time around, she was on the Red Tour, which would last from March 13th, 2013 to June 12th, 2014. During this time, Taylor would reach out to Swedish producers Max Martin and Shellback to help produce a majority of the album. Why these two? Because these two were the producers that had given Taylor the pop hits 22, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, and I Knew You Were Trouble from Red. Additionally, Taylor would reach out to other famous producers Imogen Heap, Ryan Tedder, Jack Antonoff, and Nathan Chapman to help produce the project. The pop feeling the album had would not be inspired by the current sound of pop at the time. Instead, the album would go back 3 whole decades to the 1980s, drawing major influences from the experimental nature of synth pop from the time, with artists not using real instruments, instead opting for tools like drum pads and synthesizers. Thematically, the album would be a response to the media's view of Taylor's love life and the rhetoric around said love life. Swift was categorized as a bit of a succubus man-eater due to her quickly jumping from relationship to relationship at the time. So songs like Blank Space were created as a direct response to the misconceptions surrounding her dating life, but a lot of songs were heavily influenced by what was actually going on in her love life. Jumping back a bit to late 2012, Taylor Swift would be spotted at numerous events hanging out with One Direction member Harry Styles, with rumors of them dating starting in November. Come December 2nd, 2012, the two of them will be spotted together on a date in New York City Central Park, confirming to the public that they were dating. They would then be seen together many times over the next few weeks, with the couple celebrating Taylor's 23rd birthday in England on December 13th and going on a ski trip together in Utah at the end of the month. On that ski trip, Harry would get into a bad snowmobile accident that required him to get stitches. Only a couple days later, the couple would take a trip to the Caribbean, but Taylor would be seen leaving the trip alone, with the breakup confirmed a couple days later on January 7th, 2013. The last, but definitely not least event that would influence the album was Taylor's move to New York City. In March of 2013, Taylor would move to New York, leaving behind her country home she'd spent the last few years establishing in Nashville. She would move to the city in an attempt to rediscover herself, with the move being a physical symbol of the new era she was about to begin. While in New York, Taylor would reinvent herself, no longer dressing conservatively, instead changing her style into short skirts and tube tops. She would cut her long hair into a short bob, and most importantly, she would begin hanging around a new friend group. Known as the Girl Squad, it was a friend group that consisted of many famous female actors, musicians, and models from the time, like Selena Gomez, Lorde, Gigi Hadid, Haley Steinfeld, and many, many more. This slowly turned Taylor away from her country girl lover persona and would gradually give her a more modern woman bad type of vibe. This would culminate with almost every main member of this group being featured in the music video for the song Bad Blood, but I will cover that when I talk about my thoughts on the album. So with all these factors combined, the album would be mostly complete in June of 2014, this being sometime after the end of the Red Tour.
Hey, I'm Taylor. Welcome to New York. I wanted you to meet me up here at the very top of the Empire State Building because I have some exciting news that I wanted to tell you about. And as cool as this is, we can see all of New York. It's a beautiful day. To be honest with you, it's kind of scary up here. So I was thinking maybe we could go inside, someplace we could talk.
On August 18th, 2014, Taylor would officially announce the album on a Yahoo and ABC livestream from atop the Empire State Building. She would give out the album's name, release date, and then perform the album's lead single, Shake It Off. Soon after would begin an intense marketing campaign. More singles would be released, and Swift would become very active on social media, frequently interacting with fans. She would then pick certain fans from these interactions to come to her secret sessions.
What do you mean by that?
Events in which Taylor would invite groups of fans to come to her personal house to listen to the album early, further building hype for its release. But finally, on October 27th, 2014, 1989 would release. And holy shit, it became an instant success. The album would debut at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 200 and would sell 1.29 million copies within its first week. This made 1989 the first album in 2014 to reach 1 million copies sold. It would spend 11 weeks at number 1 and would spend the entire year in the top 10. This was a monumental feat as physical record sales were on a sharp decline at the time due to the rising popularity of streaming post-Spotify launch in the United States. Despite this, 1989 is Taylor's best-selling album with 14.6 million album equivalent sales. The album was certified 14 times platinum in September of 2025. Internationally, the album went platinum on various countries' charts like Canada, New Zealand, and the UK. Even in non-English speaking countries, it dominated the charts in places like Mexico and Norway. 1989 would finish 2014 as the best-selling album in the United States for the year. But globally, Taylor would finish second behind the soundtrack for a little-known film called Frozen. Yes, 1989 outsold Frozen in the United States and placed just barely behind it globally. That is how popular this album was. Taylor would absolutely slaughter the 2015 awards season, winning at almost any event you could think of, winning awards at the American Music Awards, Japan Gold Disc Awards, Juno Awards, iHeartRadio Music Awards, and of course, the Grammys. Returning after her devastating loss for Red, she would have 7 nominations and would win 3. Those wins being Best Music Video, Best Pop Vocal Album, and Album of the Year.
I want to thank the fans for the last 10 years and the Recording Academy for giving us this unbelievable honor.
This making Taylor the first woman to win Album of the Year twice. Taylor had truly avenged her losses for Red. But all would not be well for Taylor. Now being heightened to never-before-seen fame for her, the media scrutiny she had received before would increase tenfold. The aforementioned Girl Squad would come under fire for being elitist and performatively feminist. Her next 2 relationships were harshly picked apart, and many framed her as an alt-right figure in the wake of Donald Trump's 2016 election win. She would then again find herself in a public feud with Kanye West, this time over his song Famous from the Life of Pablo, a song in which Ye infamously performs the lyrics, "Know me best. I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that famous. I made that famous." A line Taylor objected to after the album's 2016 release, but Kim Kardashian would release part of a phone conversation with West and Swift where she consents to a different lyric for the song, but taken out of context.
"I feel like Taylor Swift might owe me sex."
That's not mean.
Leading to the public branding Swift a liar. All of these events culminated in hashtag #TaylorIsOverParty, a public campaign attacking Taylor, calling her a snake. Even her support of the hashtag #MeToo movement sweeping the country was discounted, so Taylor would withdraw into private life in 2016. But what comes after this hiatus is a story for the next episode.
Hello everybody, on today's episode of Red B4U's music review, we're going to be heading down to a Barnes & Noble to review the CoComelon Nursery Rhymes CD. I know you guys have been waiting for this video for a long time, and I'm really excited to bring it to you.
So what does this Kanye fan think of 1989? Does it live up to the hype? Is it Taylor's best album yet? Well, as you can tell from the title, and the thumbnail, and the intro, and literally everything about this video so far, I love 1989. It was everything I've been saying I wanted out of Taylor throughout this series. To begin, the album is fully pop, thank the Lord. I've never been a super big fan of the country genre, and while Taylor's country stuff was enjoyable, it wasn't something I was very excited to listen to, which is why I've been looking forward to listening to 1989 throughout this project, because she finally leaves country music behind, and let me tell you, that is for the best. This isn't just my bias against country music talking, the songs on this album are actually just her best work yet. The beats on every song are so good and so varied. Every song feels different, but they're all still sonically cohesive like Taylor wanted, which is just incredibly refreshing. By album 4, Taylor wasn't doing anything interesting with her country songs. They were beginning to blend together, making each subsequent album worse because of it. It was just the same old thing Taylor had released before. But with 1989 being pop, it can't suffer from this issue since she's never put out a pop album before, making every song something brand new for Taylor, never letting the album get stale. But the album never getting stale is also a product of its length. See, Taylor has a really bad habit of making overly long albums. It starts on Debut and Fearless, with both of those albums hovering around the mid 50-minute range. But then Bass, Speak Now, and Red are closer to an hour and 10 minutes, which then gets blown out of the water by their deluxe editions, which are both an hour and 30. I'm not opposed to long albums as long as they are quality enough to be good throughout. Unfortunately, Taylor's first 4 albums did not succeed in this category. They definitely have good songs, but there will be long spans of time where it's just miss after miss. But 1989 does not have this issue. It is her shortest album by far, being only 48 minutes. Then this deluxe edition is only an hour and 8 minutes. Yes, this album's deluxe is closer to the length of her older base album lengths. Not only that, the deluxe for 1989 isn't truly an hour and 8 minutes. 3 of the songs on the album are just voice memos where Taylor explains her songwriting process and then plays some rough demos of the songs. With those removed from the deluxe, it's barely an hour long. So 1989 never overstays its welcome. It gives you good music, then it just stops. Once it's done what it needs to do, it just ends. It's not overly long and full of bull. It's just a tightly constructed experience. Speaking of the deluxe edition, it is her first truly good deluxe. None of Taylor's previous deluxe editions really added much, if any, substance to her work, but the deluxe for 1989 has one of the album's best songs, that being New Romantics. Plus, the aforementioned voice memos were a really fun listen. I was intrigued to hear about Taylor's creative process and the very early versions of the tracks that I loved. I gained a ton of respect for her because you can really tell that she cares about her work. The album is just super high quality. The production is off the charts. You can really tell that Taylor assembled an Avengers level team of pop producers to work on this album. Her vocals are also the best they've ever been, with Taylor singing her ass off and hitting some impressive high notes on a few songs. Finally, the songs were just fun. It's fun to listen to Shake It Off or Bad Blood. These aren't drab, sad country songs, they're energetic 80s pop records. But the album isn't devoid of slower songs, and even the slower tracks are still incredible listens throughout. So broadly speaking, that's why I like 1989. It's pop, short and sweet, is greatly boosted by its deluxe edition, and is a high quality listen the whole way through. But let's now go through some songs of note so that you can really see what I mean. Welcome to New York is the perfect intro track for the album. I mean, it literally welcomes you to the album's central setting. Then it sets the mood for the whole album, talking about how people are looking for a new sound and how all you have to do is dance. It also exists in this strange category of Taylor songs in my mind, where I know I had definitely heard it before, despite it not being one of her big hits. But I was very pleasantly surprised by the song, and it was definitely a standout song that has become one of my favorites. The next song is Blank Space. And wow, let me just say that this song is the definition of nostalgia for me. In the first episode, I said that I grew up on American pop radio, and this song is the poster child of pop radio. Growing up, I have undoubtedly listened to this song hundreds of times. Despite this, I've never really gotten tired of it because it's just that good. The song is a direct response to the aforementioned comments that Taylor is a evil woman that destroys the men that she dates. In the music video, it shows a man arriving at Taylor's very grand mansion. The two of them engage in various couple-esque activities, but the relationship eventually deteriorates as Taylor goes batshit crazy, culminating with her taking a golf club to his car and just absolutely popping off on the dude. The video then ends with the man fleeing the estate only for another man to arrive in his stead. The entire music video clearly being a satirical take on how the media views Taylor. Also, you can't talk about Blank Space without mentioning its very famously misheard lyric. For many years, every time I heard the song, I thought Taylor was saying, "Get along, my Starbucks lovers." I was not alone in this, many people mishear this lyric, but actually the lyric is, "Got a long list of ex-lovers," and now that I know that, I cannot go back to hearing Starbucks anymore. Overall, a very good, timeless song with some fantastic commentary from Taylor. Next up is Style. And wow, what an absolute banger. The beat on the song is iconic, and the intro is just voila. Chef's kiss. Style is just a good song. I don't have a ton of analysis to do on it. It's just a really fun, upbeat Taylor song. It's just, gets my toes curling, you know? The song is another super nostalgic one for me. Style was, again, all over the radio as I was growing up. Now, there is something to be said about the song's lyrics, which is kind of crazy. To start, the lyrics are just very catchy. The chorus where she goes, gets stuck in my head so easily. But what's really interesting is that the song is potentially hinting that Taylor is queer? I'm not going to dive into the lyrics, but many think that the song is hinting at a relationship with supermodel Kylie Kloss. Now, this is part of the larger Gaylor theory, a can of worms that I will not be opening in this video, but I just want to sow the seeds of this theory now because I will be covering it in a later video. Out of the Woods is more reminiscent of Taylor's older music, but manages to work in the new pop format. The song is about questioning if a relationship is, well, out of the woods, and the panic associated with wondering that. The chorus is just Taylor repeating, and it truly conveys the panic and anxiety that she's going for. This song, just like almost every love-related song on this album, is about Harry Styles. But this one especially is attributed to Harry, as the line, "remember when you hit the brakes too soon," is most likely a reference to the snowmobile accident Harry got in while they were dating. The song also has a very interesting intro that almost makes it sound like it's sampling other songs. The intro with the repeated sounds like a chopped up sample, which it isn't a sample, but it's curious that that's the direction her music is taking. It really does show that Taylor is willing to experiment with the sounds in her music. Now we've come to the quintessential 1989 song, Shake It Off. This is my favorite song off the album, and for good reason. It is the pop anthem of the 2010s. Shake It Off is fun, energetic, catchy, and absolutely timeless. Not only that, it is still well written, containing a good message, that being to shake it off. You can't control what people are going to say about you, but you can choose how to react to it. For an album that was heavily influenced by the public's perception of Taylor, having a song about shaking off criticism is very thematically relevant. So Shake It Off masterfully balances fun pop without making it devoid of meaning. Bad Blood is the first time where I ever crossed paths with Taylor in my life. I will now share a really funny story from my childhood. I was about 7 years old when 1989 released, and I remember seeing the music video for Bad Blood. 7-year-old me thought that Taylor was super pretty, and for like a week, I decided to dedicate my life to trying to figure out how to marry her when I got older. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I am not in fact married to Taylor Swift, so my plans did not work out, but it did really make me like the song. Besides that anecdote, Bad Blood is just a really good song. It is among one of the many hits on the album. The song is not about the bad blood you'd have in a relationship like you think, but instead it's about Taylor's relationship with another artist, that being Katy Perry. Apparently during the Red Tour, multiple of Taylor's backup dancers left the tour to go work for Katy Perry as they had a closer relationship with her. This created a splinter in their relationship, which led to the creation of Bad Blood. The music video features all the aforementioned Girl Squad members teaming up to go fight, so presumably the music video is about a bunch of women training to kill Katy Perry? Okay. The song also has a version with a feature from Kendrick Lamar, which is absolutely crazy to me. Kendrick Lamar is so diametrically opposed to Taylor that I cannot comprehend that they came together to do a collab, but regardless, the song is phenomenal just like the rest of the album. Clean is a song I don't have a ton to talk about. It's a decently solid song, but nothing I'd write home about. It's notable for its production, as Imogen Heap of Mouthwashing fame produced the song. I'm kidding, I know she was popular before that, alright? Please don't kill me. I bring up Clean because despite it being solid, like all the songs on 1989, it's not the best, and I want to make it clear that 1989 is unfortunately not a perfect album, and does have songs that do hurt the album a little bit. Lastly is New Romantics. This song is a hidden gem. I cannot believe I had not heard this song before, because New Romantics is so good. It's just like the rest of the songs where I don't have a ton to analyze, it's just a good pop song. But it's a welcome addition to 1989, a song on a deluxe edition that for once elevates the album as a whole. Unfortunately, 1989 is not without its flaws, but the flaws it does have are very minimal as compared to her previous works. There are a few skips on the album for me, those being All You Had to Do Was Stay, How You Get the Girl, This Love, and You Were in Love. So for an album with 16 songs, 4 skips is not bad at all. Even then, there is an inherent quality to these skips that sets them apart from her previous songs that I didn't like. So despite these being songs that I'm not the biggest fan of, I can't recognize why people enjoy them. Finally, we come to the Taylor's version Volt tracks, and I don't have a ton to say. This is the last Taylor's version, but I didn't really have my socks knocked off. The Volt tracks were just okay. I feel like this might be a controversial take because I believe this Taylor's version is regarded as one of her best, but I'm sorry Swifties, none of the Volt tracks spoke to me. But I don't rate the Taylor's version, so it doesn't matter because it won't hurt the album's rating. So while not perfect, 1989 is a pop masterpiece. It is easily Taylor's best album, and I'm very curious to see how she's going to follow it up. I just love 1989 so much. There's something that I need to do. Oh, let's go, dude, they have it. Oh my gosh. What are you doing with my album, bro? My hands first. Fuck you.
Get your hands off my album, you nasty
Square up right now. Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my Barnes & Noble review. Today we're reviewing Coco Melon.
Finally, it's mine. Yeah, so 1989 is pretty good, but I wouldn't like kill anyone for the album though. Welcome to About Taylor, the section where I talk about Taylor as a person. Because, well, people have a lot to say about her. Whether that's her dating life, finances, or family business, everyone has an opinion on everything, and I'm going to throw my 2 cents into the ring. Now today, I will be covering one criticism and one comparison I want to bring up. So let's begin with the one criticism of Taylor, one that I've covered many times before, that being that all Taylor sings about is love. Now when I first covered this in my Fearless video, I was very nice to Taylor. It was her second album and that's what her career is based on. Then when I covered it again in Speak Now, I was a little more annoyed, but hey, she sang about love in a different way and explored new topics within love. But we're now on album 5, in a row where Taylor is mainly singing about love. I am going to freak out. Do not get me wrong, these are good songs, really good songs, but it is getting grating to hear Taylor stuck on the same topic. 5 albums in a row and we are still on the same thing. Like girl, there has to be other things going on in your life. In fact, I know there is, but Taylor only dedicates like 1 or 2 songs to an album on non-romantic topics. I want to hear Taylor sing about other things, please. If I get 10 albums deep and we are still being a lover girl, I am going to lose my mind. So for the first time in this series, I have to say that a criticism of Taylor is true. So at least for now, it is true that all she sings about is love. But as always, this opinion is subject to change as I go deeper into her catalog. Next, I want to bring up a startling comparison I've never heard anyone bring up before, that being that Taylor and Kanye are extremely similar artists. Okay, calm down. I know it's a crazy statement, but I have the receipts to prove it, and I'm not saying that they are like one for one the same, but their careers and creative processes follow a very similar trajectory. Okay, be cool? Okay. Let's go through the careers up to this point so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Both artists start off as young and talented creatives that had a strength for songwriting in their respective genres. They would release debut albums that were highly influential and would send them into popularity. Then would come a highly revered sophomore album that would expand upon the sound of the first and had some big hits. Their third albums are critically lauded as some of their best work, considered by many to be the best out of their first 3. But the fourth album would change things drastically. A heartbreak and turmoil in their personal lives would drive them to create something new based on what was happening to them. The sound of the fourth album would be different than what came before. It would be treated harshly by critics and then would go on to define that artist's style. Finally, their fifth albums are their magnum opuses that sit upon the Mount Rushmore for their respective genres. Taylor and Kanye following these very similar paths despite being years apart is very funny to me. I mean, at every junction they are along the same creative path, and I acknowledge that there are differences, but broadly speaking there is a striking similarity. And it's also not just their music, it's also their personal lives. Both have experienced horrible breakups that severely affected them, both are highly controversial, and before you say anything, yes, Kanye is far worse, but the point I'm trying to make is that the media is constantly talking about both artists in a negative light. Both have become billionaires off their work, both are creative visionaries that craft aesthetics and elaborate worlds around their music, the list could go on. And what I think is interesting about this is that this isn't how the general populace views them. Typically, they're talked about as foils, but in actuality, they're just mirrored images of each other. This just goes to show that people don't really like self-reflection. People would much rather attack someone else instead of confronting the flaws that they don't like. Think about it, Kanye and Taylor's fan bases attack each other all the time, but the things that they are criticizing are just as present in their preferred artist, which I think is wrong. You shouldn't be a hypocrite. If either artist does something wrong, it should be called out and scrutinized, not just swept under the rug because you like their music. And I know this is very ironic coming from a Kanye fan, but he should be held more accountable for his actions, and the same thing goes for Taylor. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. Before we go any further, if you have liked this video review so far, then please subscribe to the channel. It supports me and ensures that you won't miss any future episodes because I am covering every single one of her albums. Now let's get back to the video. Just like in the other videos, I will be rating the album on the American grading scale. There are 100 points that are up for grabs that will be spread across 7 categories, those being production quality worth 20 points, lyricism worth 20 points, vocals and performance 15 points, originality 15 points, impact and legacy 15 points, replay value 10 points, and album art worth 5 points. Starting with production quality, this is Taylor's best produced album yet. The choice to switch over to one genre greatly benefits this album as it gives the production a very focused direction. This is one of the biggest issues with Red. It was so unfocused that it wasn't able to shine in any area. Shellback and Max Martin got 3 pop songs to show off there, but with 1989 having a focused direction, the producers get to show off all of their talents. Their pop abilities are all over this project. Almost every song is a high production pop classic. I said this previously, but Taylor is not a very good producer, so passing off almost every song to someone more experienced gives the album an air of quality not previously achieved. That being said, there are still a few misses with some songs that have just okay production, but a song with okay production on this album is still a very high quality song, so production quality gets a 19 out of 20. Second up, we have lyricism. The lyrics from 1989 are very interesting. They stray away from the more complex lyrics from Taylor's country days. Instead, they're quite simple, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. Let me explain. With the lyrics erring on the simpler side, it makes them extremely memorable. Just look at Shake It Off. This song is a hit for a reason, because the lyrics are just so catchy. Just listen, the words get stuck in your head. But it isn't just Shake It Off, because every song on this album is memorable to some extent. When I was listening to it for this video, I was fully singing every other song, because despite not going out of my way to listen to these songs in years, the lyrics on these tracks are so generational they'd embedded themselves into my mind. The simplicity also does not mean that they're devoid of depth. Just look at one of the most popular songs, Wildest Dreams. It explores the emotions of relationships that are doomed to fail. It expertly captures the feelings associated with this, but it retains easy to understand lyrics. So 1989 gets a 19 out of 20. This is slightly higher than the score I gave Red. The lyrics on both albums are at a similar level, but 1989's execution is just a bit better. Third, we come to vocals and performance. Now this is the Taylor that I know. Her singing has definitely improved in the time between albums. She's hitting her notes with a quality she just hasn't before. The high note on Shake It Off is especially good, but it's not just her general singing. She's infusing tons of personality into this performance. Taylor adds tons of little quirks and twists to her delivery that suit whichever song she's singing. It gives each song a unique identity. It gives the album as a whole a flair you don't really see out of pop records. But as always, I have heard some of her performances from later in her career, and things somehow get better. So I can't give max points, but vocals and performance gets a hearty 14. Now we have originality. This is the only rating that I struggled with for this album, because for Taylor, 1989 is a totally new sound for her. She has never done a full pop album before. But on the other hand, a pop album where the main focus is love is not an original idea by any means. Plus, this is her 5th album in a row where Taylor discusses love. But on the other hand, the pop music present on this album has a sound different from what was out at the time. It draws from the pop sound of the 80s and infuses it into a modern mold. And she also isn't entirely singing about love. There are a few tracks that explore other ideas, so it settled on a score of 12. The score is still high, but hurt by the oversaturation of the pop genre and her over-reliance on love as a topic. Impact and Legacy gets max points, 15 out of 15, no debate. Critically, this album is held in a high esteem that few albums could ever wish to aspire to. Commercially, the album is her best-selling and was record-breaking for its time. To this day, many people consider 1989 to be her best work ever, and this album has turned Taylor into a pop star. Like, without this album, we would not have the pop culture juggernaut that is Taylor Swift. So Impact and Legacy is a 15, no debate. The replay value on this album is high. It is a catchy, well-written pop album. Its sound also just feels timeless with its mix of influences. Like, that is a recipe for an album with infinite replay value. So 1989 should get a 10, right? Well, unfortunately, there are a few very minor dips in quality, leading to some songs that are skips. Despite this, the songs that aren't skips are so incredibly good that they keep the score high, and the skips are objectively good, high-quality songs, just not ones that fit my personal tastes. So 1989 gets a 9 out of 10 for replay value, a score that I feel is very justified. Like, come on, it's the Shake It Off album. How could it not score highly? Lastly, we come to the album cover. 1989's cover depicts a Polaroid that contains a photo of Taylor in a blue shirt with seagulls on it. Written on the Polaroid is her initials and the year 1989. It is reminiscent of baby photos from before the time digital cameras took off. This works as the album serves as a thematic rebirth for Taylor. Having a cover that looks like baby photos but is of her adult self is a fantastic way to represent her reborn self. It is also a callback to the technology present during the time the album sound is derived from. The deluxe edition cover is also superb. It makes the 1989 way bigger and moves it over Taylor. Then, where 1989 was before, it now says DLX, a shortened version of Deluxe. It is different but not bad, just a nice alternative. A cover I'm not a fan of though is the Taylor's version. I do not understand what this cover is trying to do. It has Taylor smiling, looking over her shoulder with seagulls flying around her, and the text 1989 Taylor's version above her head. It totally dropped the Polaroid aesthetic, now representing the idea with a small white border on the edge of the cover. It is a total downgrade in every way. Furthermore, the entire vibe of the Taylor's version is just worse. It's no longer a city-themed album, instead it's a beach album, a baffling change seeing as New York was crucial to the album's creation. Just such a strange creative choice. Regardless, we don't rate the Taylor's version, so the album gets a 5 on album art. Incredible cover. So my rating for 1989 is, drumroll please, a 93, equivalent to an A-. This is the highest grade I've rated a Taylor album, and what a deserved grade that is. 1989 is a phenomenal piece of work that has personally entered my top 10 favorite albums. While I did deduct 7 points, those 7 were very nitpicky and not indicative of any major glaring flaws, which is what happens when you have an album that is this high quality. You can't really find any big issues. So here is the current ranking of all of her albums so far. But this does present a problem. Can Taylor make a better album than this? This is such a high bar to clear that I would not be surprised if no other album in this series can top it. Now, anything can happen, and to my knowledge there are still 2 behemoths left in reputations and folklore, but only time will tell if 1989 can be topped. 1989 is by far Taylor's best album up to this point. It is her pop magnum opus which blows everything she's done before out of the water. She finally dropped her country music ways and moved forward with her sound. Because of this, 1989 became a smash hit success that made Taylor the pop star she is today. Which is amazing to see. One of the biggest reasons I listen to new artists like this, going through their discographies in order, is because you get to see the artist's growth. I really have seen Taylor evolve from a random country girl to one of the biggest pop sensations of all time. It feels absolutely surreal. Looking back, I cannot fathom how the Taylor that made debut even walks the same ground as the Taylor who made 1989. It is so cool to see. It makes me very excited to see where I'll be in another 5 albums. So what's next for Taylor? How do you follow up such a big success? Like I mentioned in the history segment, Taylor would withdraw from the public eye in 2016 due to the media hellstorm raging against her. During this time, writing her next album would be her quote, defense mechanism, as Taylor retreated into her own world. Writing and creating the project would give her moments of peace and would give her an outlet to channel her rage into. Taylor's work would finally be released to the public on November 10th, 2017. Next time, we cover Taylor Swift's 6th studio album, Reputations.